After a long day of gallivanting across the West, returning to camp in Red Dead Redemption 2 feels an awful lot like returning home. And just like any home, it has its comforts. One such comfort is one man sat by the campfire playing his guitar. Of course, this particular man is Javier Escuella, a fearsome, loyal revolutionary and idealist, willing to devote his life to a cause. That cause, of course, being Dutch van der Linde's ideals. But how did Javier find himself mixed up in the events of the story of Red Dead Redemption 2? That is today's video. Please enjoy the origins of Javier Escuella. Javier Escuella was born circa an undisclosed year in Nuevo Paraíso, Mexico. Forgive me for my pronunciation. Javier's father was a drunkard who worked as a labourer, owned by the uncle of Colonel Agustin Allende. From a young age, Javier's mother would tell him stories of a creature that sucked the blood of livestock, a creature that ate little boys who wouldn't behave.
When I was a boy, my mother told me about an animal that attacked cattle and drank their blood. Of course, you've all heard about this. Every place has one of those, but my mother's version was a little different. Along with farmyard animals, her version also ate little boys who misbehave. Oh, she tried everything she could to keep me in line. Prepare me for a life of starving servitude, while picking corn and cotton for rich landowners, giving every penny I had to the church they used to keep us in line. I loved my mother, but she never saw how things were.
The cautionary tale had minimal effect on Javier. However, one day after his uncle and 4 other men suggested that villagers demand a fair wage from the landowner whom they worked for, Javier would witness a real monster.
When I was a little boy, some men came to my village. They accused 5 men of spreading rebellion and heresy. They took them into the streets, stripped them naked, castrated them, and fed them to the pigs while the rest of the village was forced to watch. One of those men was my uncle. Another was a friend of my parents. And you know what those men had done? They had suggested that the men of the village demand a fair wage from the local landowner. That not that he share all that he had, just that he give enough that the people might live. Of course, Mexico could be a land of plenty. But the people with the power there? They rather kill than share the smallest little piece. All my life, I think about this. Most people are thieves because they steal the lives and the hopes of others.
After watching the brutal execution of his uncle, Javier came to believe the system in Mexico was corrupt. Eventually, he grew into a notorious bounty hunter and self-professed revolutionary who wound up murdering an influential former military man. Believing if he stayed in Mexico, those he cared for would die, Javier fled the country, which led him to the United States.
I ran, not for my life, but for theirs. In this country, I spoke no English. I was afraid. I had nothing except for my fear for I left in a rush. I was starving, feeble, and alone. I thought I would die crossing the desert. I thought I would get here and be sent back. I thought I would be killed here. Instead, I was simply starving because nobody cared.
Starving and alone in an apathetic country, speaking not a single word of English, and unable to return home out of fear that he would be killed along with those he cared for, Javier Escuella found himself having to resort to a life of petty crime. In 1895, whilst attempting to steal some chickens, Javier would meet Dutch van der Linde attempting to do the same thing.
Then I met Dutch. I was stealing chickens and he, I met him doing the same. And we laughed. He took me in. And he fed me. And he clothed me. And I met all of you. I don't believe I shall ever go back home now. For this is my home now. You are all my home now.
Javier, now a member of the van der Linde gang, was quickly enthralled by the ideals surrounding it, coming to view Dutch as a symbol for revolution, becoming a fiercely loyal believer, developing close bonds with its members, John Marston and Bill Williamson especially. He fell into place as an able-bodied gunman for the gang, and was involved in various robberies, murders and kidnappings across the frontier. For example, at one point, Arthur, Javier and Karen would carry out a bank robbery in Tucson, Arizona. Moving on, at some point prior to 1899, Javier discovered the fate of his mother.
My mother. I heard she died. I mourn her, but I did not bury her. My sister got married, she moved away. I hope she's safe, but I will never know. And what was my crime? Huh? My crime was wanting food and fairness for the people. For that, I have been chased and hunted. I come here. Things are not so very different. Everyone steals, kills, suppresses, lies. All they do better here is make you believe that it's not that way.
Unable to return to Mexico, Javier had no choice but to remain in America. Continuing his life of crime, at some point, he and Arthur attempted to rob a stagecoach after receiving a tip from a crooked lawman in Reno, Nevada. They held up the stagecoach and upon looking inside, they discovered women and children. Despite the fact these people were of rich families, Arthur and Javier decided to let them go on their way. When reading a newspaper at some point later, they discovered the stagecoach was robbed the next day by the O'Driscolls, further along their trail, and all of its passengers were murdered. During a brief conversation in a fishing trip, Javier indirectly implies that he found this to be dishonourable. By 1899, Javier Escuella had become one of Dutch van der Linde's most dependable recruits, and during the Blackwater ferry robbery that went horribly wrong, witnessed Dutch murder Heidi McCourt, and most interestingly, his loyalty to Dutch didn't even falter, bringing us to the events of Red Dead Redemption 2, and therefore the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff. That would be, of course, super fantastic and I'd really appreciate it. If you're enjoying yourself, why not check out some of my other content and some of the links in the description. And if you like history, be sure to check out my brand new history channel, Decades, which I'm running with a few friends. It hit 4,000 subscribers recently, so thank you so very much to everybody who's shown support so far. It really means the world to all of us. You can find a link to that in the description. Anyway, with any luck, hopefully I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point. However, until next time, please take care and goodbye.